So now we're solving the logs, okay? What I need to do here, I need to raise the 2 on top of the x using the power rule. So this becomes log x squared. At the same time, I'm gonna change this because it's addition, I'm gonna change it to multiplication. So 32 times 2. Now, when you have one log on the left-hand side and one log on the right-hand side, nothing before the log, know that you could cancel the logs. So this is a new thing that you're learning today. And therefore, x squared equals 64. And therefore, x equals plus or minus 8. Okay. Now, we have two answers, as we said, -8 and +8. Okay. Now you take the -8, sub it into the x here. If you sub the -8 for the x, we could never log negative numbers. So since we cannot log negative numbers, then you have to reject this and you have to test in the original. But the 8 would work. All right, so the only answer is 8, and this is extraneous. Now let's go to the next question here. We do the same thing. You see this plus sign right here? That indicates I could combine these two logs right here. And I get x plus 2 and x minus 1 equals 1. Now we go 4 raised to the power of 1. 4 raised to the power of 1 equals this. Okay, that's the log rule. Even though log base a x equals b, that's the same thing. A raised to this power will give me this. Even though this is not one thing, but it's still that you log in all of this. So 4 raised to 1, so 4 to the power of 1 equals x plus 2 times x minus 1. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep the 4, foil this, and when we foil this, x times x is x squared, positive 2 minus 1, that's positive 1x. Okay. And 2 times -1 is -2. Okay, how did I do that? X times x is x squared right here. And then I go positive 2 minus 1, that gives me 1, and that indicates it's 1x. Okay, like if you want to take shortcuts with the with foiling. And then 2 times -1 is -2, and that's what I put there. Now I move everything to one side, equate it to 0. So I get y 0 equals x squared plus x minus 6. All right. And when we get there, now we're going to factor. And when we factor, we're going to get x plus 3, x minus 2. Now x equals -3 and 2. Now I take this -3, take it to the original. See, -3 plus 2 gives me -1. So we cannot log a negative, so that has to be rejected. Does the 2 work? Yeah, I get a positive number here and I get a positive number, so the 2 works, and that's your answer. Based on that, I'm going to give you a few questions to do yourself. So here, the first thing you need to do, bring the 3 on top of the x, because that's the log rules that I've shown you before. So this becomes log x to the power of 3 equals, and since this is plussing 2 logs, we know when we're plussing 2 logs, we could change them to 1 log and multiply the 32 times the 2 right here. Now, that will give me log x cubed equals log 64. When we have 1 log on the left-hand side of the equal sign and 1 log on the right-hand side of the equal sign, there's nothing before this log and there's nothing before this log, you're allowed to cancel the logs. Now what we have x cubed equals 64. We cube root both sides, and we get x equals 4. This number, if you plug it in here, you could take the log of a positive number, so this is your answer. There's no extraneous roots. Yeah. Now with this one right here, this is addition right here. This is the addition sign right here. So it follows the same thing as this, except now you have equations. So you go log base 2 x times x plus 2. So you're combining the two logs. Instead of a plus, you write one log, combine the two logs, make them into one, and multiply these two things, equals 3. Now, when we log in all of this, okay, and 2 is the base, I could change this to exponential form. So I could go x times x plus 2 equals 2 to the power of 3. Yeah. And now I get x squared plus 2x equals 8. Moving to this side right here, x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. And now if I factor this, I get x minus 2x plus 4 equals 0, and therefore x equals 2 and negative 4. Now, when you get the answers, you have to take both numbers, put them into here. The 2 doesn't give you a negative number in here, so it's fine. But the negative 4, we know we cannot log the negative number. So we have to reject this. And that's your answer. The first one, as a matter of fact, let me record for, oh gosh, I'm recording already. Lots of editing here. So the first one here, what you need to do, you need to combine these two logs. And since this is a plus sign here, I change this into log x minus 2, x plus 1, all of that equals 1. Remember, combining logs. When we have a plus sign between two logs, I could make them into one log and multiply the two things that we log in. Now, the base here is 10. When we don't write the base is 10. So now 10 raised to the power of 1 equals this. So therefore, x minus 2 and x plus 1 equals 10 to the power of 1, which is 10. X squared, negative 2 plus 1, that's negative 1x. And negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 equals 10. Now I know a lot of you see how come he's foiling so fast. Let me show you how to foil, okay? Really fast without having to go through that old, starting way of foiling. Multiply the x's, you get x squared, okay? Now you add the negative 3 plus 5, you get positive 2, and that's where the x is gonna go. And then negative 3 times 5, that's negative 15. Did anybody see this one before, or you guys were doing it the old way? Now, I move the 10 to the other side, so x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. X minus 4, x plus 3, that's what that factors into, because that's a 1. Negative 4 plus 3 gives me negative 1, and negative 4 times 3 gives me negative 12. Now x equals 4 and negative 3. The 4 works. The negative 3 will give me negative here and negative here, so cannot log a negative number, so that has to be rejected. So this is the first one that we have to do. All right. Now number 2, this is minusing. When it's minusing, when we combine the logs, I'm going to do that in a different color. When we combine these two logs, we go log base 3 x squared. And since it's minusing, I change it to dividing. 2x equals 2. Now we're going to change this to exponential form. So I have x squared over 2x equals 3 squared. X squared over 2x equals 9. Cross multiply the 2x to the 9. I'm going to get x squared equals 18x. Move everything to one side, equate it to 0. We get x squared minus 18x equals 0. Take out the greatest common factor, which is x. And I'm going to get x minus 18 equals 0. So x equals 0, and 18. However, the 0, when you put it back here, you get 0, and you cannot log a 0. You cannot log a 0 or a negative number. So therefore, you have to reject the 0, and the only answer is 18. All right. How about, let's see what we're going to fit the last one. And this is 2 for Marianne, who skipped class today because it was last day of school, and she thought she doesn't need math class today. All right, so this 3 here, and maybe let's write the 3 a little bit to the side. So this log base 2 to x plus 4 minus log base 2x minus 1 equals 3. Because of that minus sign right here, I'm going to change that to log base 2. And I'm going to divide that to x plus 4 and the x minus 1 equals 3. Now change it to exponential form by going 2 raised to the power of 3 equals this. 2 raised to the power of 3 is 8. So x plus 4 equals 8x minus 8. Negative 6x equals negative 12. Divide both sides by negative 6, and you get x equals 2. Good job, guys. Good job. Yeah. Start on these. We have about 4 more minutes. Start on them now, and then the rest of it is homework. Let me record what I said here. So, all right. I'll see you guys later.